ELDs are here. What do you as a truck driver need to know, and what has changed in the truck driver world since ELDs were made mandatory? These questions and many more are about to be answered, so stay with us. First question. Who does the ELD rule apply to? If you have a truck, a tractor trailer, or any combination of these that weigh more than 4,500 kilograms, then the ELD rules apply to you. If you have a bus that was designed or built to hold more than 10 people, including the driver, then the ELD rules apply to you. Question number 2. Who is exempt from the ELD rules? Some motor carriers that operate under a permit that excludes them from the hours of service rules, then you would be exempt. You might work for a carrier who has been given an exemption under the Motor Vehicle Transport Act. If that was the case, you are exempt. If you're driving a vehicle rented for 30 days or less, when we are talking about rented vehicles, you got to remember that you cannot extend that 30-day rental period. If you're driving a rented vehicles for 30 days or less, you are exempt. If you're driving a vehicle that was made before the year 2000, you would be exempt. If you are a driver that isn't required to keep a record of duty status, then you are exempt. Question number 3. Have any of the hours of service rules changed because of the ELD implementation? None of the rules regarding how long you can work have changed. Here in Canada, you can still only drive 13 hours a day, all in a 14-hour workday, and that workday all must take place all in a 16-hour work shift. Of course, you still need to get 10 hours off duty each day. What else do you need to know about the ELD rules? As a driver, there's a few new violations that you could get or that you are subjected to. The officer at a roadside stop may ask you to produce one or all of the following items. Let's quickly go through them one by one. First one, you must have the latest version of the ELD user manual with you. Number 2, you will need to have a printed instruction sheet on how to transfer data from the ELD and how to transfer driver's hours of service to the officer or the inspector. So that needs to be printed, that instruction sheet. You will also need a printed instruction sheet regarding what to do if your ELD malfunctions. And lastly, and this is very important, you will need enough blank log sheets so that you, the driver, can record the hours of service information for the previous 14 days and today. If I said it another way, that means that you need at least minimum of 15 blank log sheets. What if you use your cell phone or mobile device for the ELD display unit? Is that a problem? No, it's not a problem if it's mounted in a fixed position. The regulations say, and I quote, if you use a portable ELD, it must be mounted and in a fixed position while you are driving the vehicle. You must also be able to see the device when you are in your usual seated driving position. You normally operate within a 160 kilometer radius, and today you are going beyond the 160. Do you need an ELD? And as I stated earlier, nothing really has changed in the hours of service regulations. So if normally you do not require a paper log and now you go beyond the 160, then prior to the ELD rules, you would have written out your logs for the previous 14 days and then recorded today's hours of service in the logbook. Using an ELD is much the same. Just like in a paper log, you'll need to enter or check the information in your electronic log for the previous 14 days and make sure that this includes the date and your start time, your driver ID number, check the cycle you were following, record the commercial vehicle license plate and the unit numbers or the trailers if applicable, the name and the addresses of your motor carrier's home terminal, the main place of business where you worked or stayed today, a description of your vehicle's location if it was not automatically entered by the device, any deferral of off-duty time under Section 16, any notes you need to add to complete the log. What should you do if your ELD malfunctions? In Canada, your carrier is required to make sure the electronic logging device installed in commercial vehicles are working properly and calibrated in accordance to the manufacturer's instructions. If you notice the logging device isn't working correctly, the ELD will display a malfunction code. Tell your carrier as soon as the vehicle is parked. You must also switch to using paper logs until you return to your home terminal from your current trip. On the day you notice the malfunction, make sure to include this info on the record of duty status, which is another way of saying paper logs. Include the malfunction code, the date and time when you noticed the malfunction, and the time that you noted it to the carrier. You must continue to record the malfunction code in your paper logs until the device is repaired or replaced, which your carrier should do within 14 days or once you return to the carrier's home terminal if your trip was longer than 14 days. If you work for a livestock carrier, you know that in the United States you are exempt from the rules because you fall under the exemption for the agricultural, farm, and livestock vehicles. Does Canada have a similar exemption? The short answer is no. Canada does not have a similar exemption. The complete answer is this: unless you are covered by one of the following conditions, Canada will require you to use an ELD. If you work for a motor carrier under a permit, you work for a motor carrier that has been given an exemption under the Motor Vehicle Transport Act, if you are driving a rented vehicle for 30 days or less, you are driving a vehicle made before the year 2000, or you are not required to keep a record of duty status. If you have some other questions about ELDs and how they affect you, please reach out and I would be happy to answer.